Today is May 21st, 2018, the day after Ironman Chattanooga 70.3. We are back in Nashville, and we are tired and we are sore.
Yeah, our plans to broadcast live from the Holiday Inn didn't go. Too much going on this morning.
Yeah, too much going on. Too many people to see. Too many people still on the ground. And we found it more important to meet with people in face-to-face, and we could make sure that we still met with you, our faithful and loving listeners and podcast subscribers, later in the day, and give a shout-out and a personal love and some face-to-face time with our local athletes and even some local listeners.
Yeah, and let's face it, we didn't have the brain power.
Oh, God, it would have been piss poor. Probably
like this one will be. But.
Yeah, maybe like this one. Yeah, there'll be a... if this is your first podcast, we'll probably get a lot of unique listens on this podcast and no repeaters, but that's all right. Whatever.
Yeah,
we do the best we can with what we can.
You know, if you can't give us more than one shot, then...
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, we get it. We see how you are.
How you feeling after that nice drive? 2-hour drive. Well, probably 3:15 for you, but how are you feeling?
What is that, a shot at my slow driving right out of the gate? Old man stuff here, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm all right. I've been drinking a bunch of water and eating some humble pie and just licking my wounds. I'm I don't know. I'm fine. Just a little sore. Nothing really out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
I was
tough.
Bitten by the double H yesterday. Heat and hamstrings. That's what got me again.
The double H. Heat and hamstrings. I love it. Yeah, but huge congrats to...
Yeah, let's go into our athletes. It's all about them.
Huge congrats first off to all of the people who towed the line yesterday and finished Ironman Chattanooga 70.3, as it was a great start to the day, but as I think many athletes found out, and myself and you included, the run was brutal, and the second loop, for me at least, and I know for a lot of people, felt just like a fist fight the whole time. Yeah. So
is that early season heat?
Like out of nowhere, like 9,500. I remember when I was out there watching some of our athletes finish, it feels like 100, and then a little bit over there. I think basically from noon on. So it was brutal on our brutal course with in and out shades. So congrats to everyone, and then my team and our team especially, they just did an outstanding job. I was really, really blown away with all their performances, and we had a lot of first-time 70.3 athletes, and then obviously a lot of returning athletes, and man, to have as many PRs as we had yesterday on that course in those conditions, given all things, says a lot about the athletes that we have, and they've worked really, really hard this whole off season, and I know they were chomping at the bit and probably a little worried that things might not pan out the way that they had hoped, given the heat and the weather. But hey, you can only do the best that you can on any given day, and I couldn't be prouder. Everybody finished and was really happy and pleased, and some of them even more so. And so could not be any happier for all of them to have done such an incredible job and to persevered, and it was just very inspirational. Tons of great stories. I can't wait to read all of their more in-depth race reports, and it was fun seeing everybody out there too on the course. It was fun. That was the only downside of the bike course for me, was that, on the usual like out and backs, it's you can see all your teammates on, no matter where you are, in the front end, of the back end, of the middle, you can always see people kind of coming back and forth to give kind of like a hey. So that was the only downside, but the bike course was great. But so they all did great, and I'm so proud of them. And then we had honestly a lot of other athletes all over the country, and then Steve King over in the UK just put up. It was one of those really cool weekends. So a lot of special performances, and a lot of people were really happy. So it makes Coach happy.
We had, what, about 25 athletes there?
27.
27 athletes. And I know this isn't the case, but it seems like almost everybody I talked to had a PR.
If it was not their first time racing, I think we probably had I think we had 17 or 18 PRs out of the 27.
Dude, and they weren't like, by a minute or something. These were like...
Yeah, we had some people like over an hour, over 30 minutes. A lot of people overcame. It's just fun. It's just great, this early in the season, and a lot of people have overcome just a lot of obstacles over the winter, personal, professional, and just dealing with so many difficult things. And, and I got to give a little shout out to Bobby Ritz, who got a stress fracture like a little over 3 months ago, and wasn't even sure he'd be able to race. And so we shelved him obviously on the run, and then we just biked the hell out of it. And we don't really waste time aqua jogging, at least I don't. We just did a lot of biking, a lot of biking and swimming. And then about a week, 10 days out, we started running for the first time. We did, let's see, maybe just mostly 25, 30-minute runs, and then one 40-minute run was his longest run, and I made him do them all on the treadmill too, just to kind of be safe. And he pulled out a 18-minute PR yesterday and ran 10, 12-minute miles on that course in the heat, with only running 3 times in the last 3 months. So that was a cool one, and there was just a lot of great stories. A lot of just people, just our athletes were just the greatest. They blew me away. And Joanne Langton, she and I have been working together for 5 years now, and she's been had not the easiest route as of late. To have her get her first podium was really, really cool, and well deserved. And but yeah, there was a lot of, just honestly all over the place. It was just one of those, even that weren't in Chattanooga. We had a Boston qualifier, a 5th overall, a 5, just everywhere. It was one of those really great weekends where everything really lined up. It never happens that way. It's like once every 2 months do you have a weekend like that. But it was awesome. The athletes I'm very, very, very blessed to have such a really awesome, dedicated, and consistent group of athletes that work so hard. And when you do those kind of things, things seem to work out for the best. So big props to them.
Yeah, well, if I may, that may be a bit of a reflection on their coach, because I have some questions, but before we move on, I think it should be noted that you also podiumed in your illustriously difficult age group. And unfortunately, the award ceremony was canceled, but I want to throw a congrats out to my buddy and coach and podcasting partner.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I got a whole lot to say about my race in general, but very thankful to be on the podium. Definitely bummed that the award ceremony got canceled because of the storm. I honestly wasn't super excited about just me. I wasn't excited at all about just me getting up there. I was more, my excitement and joy was more centered around having the opportunity for Hayden to come up there with me and stand on the podium with me. And that's something I always think about, even when I'm training sometimes, is having him come up on the podium, even though he wouldn't really know what the heck was going on. But I definitely am bummed that I missed out on that part and that experience. But I don't plan on that being my last time to be up there. So I will have to get back to work and then have a chat with Mother Nature. Make sure. Yeah, she was throwing some haymakers on Sunday before and after the race. So, but yeah, it was an interesting day for me, honestly. But happy to have to snuck on there, and but yeah, good day.
Well, let's talk about the race a little bit. I had in my race, there was a moment when I knew that what I was kind of going for in my head was probably going out the window. And of course, your race didn't go out the window, but was there a toughest part of the day for you? Does anything stick out, like one point in that race that really kind of tested your mettle? I mean, to the big time.
Oh yeah,
test.
absolutely.
There's a lot of tests, but is there one that really stuck out?
Oh, absolutely. I think I've only told maybe one or two people this, but Allie knows. But my hip has been bothering me as of late. And I've had a couple instances in the house where I've just kind of been standing there and like my hip will just give out and like I'll almost like go to the floor. And all my runs have been short. I've just been kind of babying it, and my hip did it the same thing coming out of the water from the swim to the bike, and then it was bothering me a little bit on the bike, and then it did it again coming from bike to run. And I honestly, from the moment it happened to the moment I got to my transition spot, I contemplated just pulling the plug. And not doing any further damage. I was just afraid something bad was going to happen. And then I said, it's funny because I was like, you know what the hell? I'm going to give it a whirl and just see what happens. Because I honestly thought to myself, and I never in a million years would have thought this is actually even a possibility given the way that I felt all day. I was like, this would be the one day where you play it too careful, and this would be the day that you podium.
Yeah.
And how could I ever live with myself? And I went, well, I said, I'm just going to go, and I'm going to play it hard and see what happens. And I got lucky, but honestly, this is the worst that I felt going into a race in a long time. And a lot of my athletes ask me, how you feel? I was like, I don't know yet. And the first 20 miles of the bike were an absolute struggle for me. And I mean, an absolute struggle for me. My legs just they had nothing. And honestly they had nothing all week. Just weren't there. I don't know why, I don't know how. It's just kind of how it is sometimes. They just weren't there. And so I was really, really worried the first 20, I mean, not 20 miles, but like the first, I don't know, the first, let's see, 30, the first 40 minutes, my normalized power was only 208. And my average power was 204, and I ended up averaging for the whole ride 220. So they finally came alive, but it was a while before they really came around, and I just thought to myself, man, like this whole day is gonna suck, and suck bad. And but I'll tell you what, though, it gave me time to really focus and take in nutrition, and I will say that is absolutely the only reason that I ended up on the podium was my nutrition. This is the first time I think that I have ever feel like I just nailed my nutrition to a T and wouldn't change anything about it. And I know that we kind of talked about this before a little bit on that I felt like I didn't nail it in Texas. Like I feel like I got pretty good at it, but I feel like I left a few calories out there. And this is easily my best nutritional performance I've probably ever had. And I attribute that to my overall success for the whole day is nutrition.
Wow, well, that's cool, man. Do you and you think you can replicate it, obviously, because you know what you did? Yeah,
I wasn't sure I could take in that many calories and not feel just kind of bloated. Mm-hmm. You know, but I was able to take in. Let's see, I was able to take in about 700 calories on the bike, which is a lot for me. That's like Ironman racing, but I also attribute that to going a little bit, probably going a little bit easier the first 20 miles than I normally would have. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I was able to take in more. So, and I was able to save my legs. Like I felt great. Like the last 25 miles of that ride were easily my strongest. I finally kind of felt like my legs were finally awake. They're like, oh, hey, I remember. This is what we're supposed to be doing today. And I was like, hey, you guys are just like 2 hours late to the party. But 2 hours barely to the party than nothing. And it was a very, very humid day, even on the bike. I remember the first 10 miles of the bike, and I know a lot of other athletes express this, is like if you're wearing a visor, even sunglasses, that your lenses were like fogging up and like sweat's burning. Like, man, this is going to be a long ride, especially in the beginning, because if you've ever ridden that course, the first 10 miles are easily the hairiest in terms of potholes and divots and weaving in and out of here and in here and there. And so I was like, man, this is going to be brutal, but it ended up working out, and I still don't feel like I had the legs that much for the day, and my run my legs felt there. They were never pushed that hard, I don't feel like. But yeah, it was a weird day. I'm not really sure how to take it, to be honest with you. I'm neither super excited about it nor disappointed. I guess just from a personal note, like, I'm not poo-pooing being on the podium or anything. I think it's a great accomplishment. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it's been a long time. I've been in the sport for a long time, so that's definitely cool. But I guess I kind of wanted it to be on a day where I feel like I just nailed it, and everything went perfect, and I had the legs, but yeah, I mean, you gotta do the best with you gotta do the best you can on whatever the day gives you, whatever your body gives you, and whatever the weather and the conditions give you. It's about who can do the best with all of those.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you talk about it all the time, on a perfect day and everything, you might be cooking it, but so is everybody else.
Yeah,
and it's like these are unknown variables, maybe in the weather or whatever the case may be, that kind of caused you to feel that way, which is maybe how a lot of people felt.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, very true.
So it is what it is on that day, and like you said, you got to take it. It's like sometimes people win championships and play terribly.
Yeah.
It's just an ugly game, and you won an ugly game basically, which is sometimes more rewarding. But a lot of people,
the least ugliest.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to go. Yeah, and yesterday, I mean, and as it is with any rate any race that or event that's really, really, really hot and we talk about this all the time, is that I do think that I'm not the most athletically gifted individual in the world, and I got to I do think yesterday was one of the races where I had to be a lot smarter with nutrition and pacing, because I do think that bit a lot of people on the bike was the pacing, knowing that the run was going to be such a monster. And so some days you got to put that aside and try to outsmart them, as many of them as you can. And I feel like that's, I definitely didn't outfast or out fitness that many people. I don't feel like yesterday, but I do feel like I raced about as intelligently as I've ever have, given what my body was telling me to do. And so I don't feel like I forced anything. I don't feel like, I gave up anything. I just feel like I was taking what my day was giving me. And finally, when my legs kind of came alive, I was like, all right, now I'm ready to race. And then even on the run, the first mile or the first few miles, I was really happy with how my legs felt. They just felt like another day. And I was like, yeah, but don't wear them out, because you're going to need them to kind of take over on the second half when it's just, the sun comes out and you're going to get just blasted. And yeah, that's what happened. It got blasted, and I was glad I saved him. I don't know if I could have, gone faster, but I feel like I played the cards I was dealt that yesterday. I feel like I played them as best as I possibly could. I didn't fold. I didn't have any huge hands, but I just kind of stuck around, and I feel like that's how my day went. I just kind of stuck around.
That's pretty cool, though. I think that's really cool. There's a lot to be learned from that. It's just, you can't throw in the towel just on little things that happen throughout the course of the day. If you just keep plowing, it's simple as just keep moving, keep going, keep doing the best you can at that particular time of the race. And, things will change, like we always talk about. Your legs weren't there on the bike, and they came around when you needed them. Mm-hmm. So you can't just, say it's over.
Yes. Yeah, very true. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Got to keep going. Yeah. How about you? How do you feel like the race went for you?
Well, to answer like my original question, because I was thinking about like, I had this, I think I told you, what did I tell you? Maybe 5:15, 5:10 was my goal the day before, based on what I'd been doing and everything. And I thought that was very reasonable. I ended up 5:23. But, everything really went almost perfect until I hit the pedestrian bridge. That's when I knew I was cooked on that goal, because I just I had, well, as you know, I did the whole race without a watch. I didn't. I had a bike computer, so I kind of knew what was going on there, but I had no idea what my swim was coming out of the water. Did the bike, and it was just going by feel, and I felt really good off the bike. And the question mark was, did I do enough running and going into this? And the answer is probably no. So I was looking at the splits, and that they were dead on what I was kind of hoping to do. It was about 9-minute pace that first loop, and I was thinking about this on the way home too. Is that I did walk through the aid stations, and I did it was hot, and I was just playing it safe there. So I was at a 9-minute pace with the walking through the aid station. That's got to be like a 10, 15 second variance, maybe, if you just keep going. But anyway, I got through basically the whole first loop until I got the pedestrian bridge, and I can't, and I've run that course many times and done the full, and I've done the half there. I've done the waterfront triathlon, and I got to that bridge, and it looked monumental to me. It looked so big this time for some reason, and I went up it, and I just felt my legs going right there, and it was it's like, dude, I'm like the guy that has a leak in his bathroom, and instead of getting it fixed, he just keeps putting a bucket under it instead of spending like $200 to get the drain fixed or whatever. So I've known this hamstring problem has been around, and I think it's a strength, but I don't even know the answer, to be honest. So I just need to go find somebody who knows, and then we just need to work on it, because I think that was the whole thing. I mean, other than that, I felt actually pretty strong all day. I even recovered a little after that bridge on the back half when we were running on the road again. I found my groove again a little bit. And I think I threw in a 8:30, and I felt pretty good. I was like, oh, maybe I do have it again. And then by the time I came out of the Greenway and we hit that other hill, I was definitely toasted by then. But anyway, it was pretty good, similar. But I think I got way better in me. And that's kind of been the nature of my beast for a long time. And for whatever reason, I'm not putting in the work, or I'm not doing some of the right things. Because there's just no... They coming up. Well, this was the second carnation of the Crushing Iron War, too, which added insult to injury.
Make sure you share the details, the details behind that.
All right, so my buddy Corey, CC, we refer to him on the podcast a lot. He was down there, and last year I challenged him to the Crushing Iron War head-to-head battle, just winner take all. And then he beat me last year, and of course this was the second year, and he came back, and this was the version 2. And the night before, we were kind of laughing about the strategy of this whole thing, because he said he hadn't been training much, and he kind of sandbags a little bit. So we were kind of talking about it the day before, how the best position for somebody to be was just a little bit behind getting off the bike.
Yep.
And he's a better runner than I am, so I was thinking, well, let's see what happens anyway. So I beat him out of the water, and then he outbiked me by a little bit, but we, docked in transition, and I came running out of the transition. We have that little out and back turnaround that goes out towards the bike course a little bit, and then it comes back around. And as I'm coming back around, I hear, hey, he's running out of transition. So he's about 3 minutes behind me. And I was like, I'm screwed, man. He was just for like the first 3 miles, I'm just kind of doing my thing, and I know he's back there just looking at my bright gold and yellow jersey, just like nowhere to hide, and he's just ready to pick me off at any moment. And of course, it was right about mile 3, he comes running up and going, how you feel? I'm like, damn it. So, and then he just basically ran away from me.
Yeah, and can we tell everybody that you totally let Hayden down?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yeah, we were at dinner the night before, and CC and Mike and Allie and I and Hayden, and we laid it down to him. We said, and we put him on the spot the night before. Who are you taking in the big fight? You taking Mike or Corey? And he gave an emphatic, like
no delay.
He had no delay. It was like Babe Ruth calling his shot, and he said his version of Mike and pointed his finger in dramatic, concreted fashion.
He pointed right at me. And the pressure was on.
It was a no brainer for him, and he let him down. But that's okay. You guys can work through that. He's all right.
Yeah,
he'll be okay today.
And then I guess I was just gonna say my second time I came across the pedestrian bridge to finish, and that's when I got the big warning. I got the official course warning.
Yeah, I've been waiting to get on this one.
Oh, you want to wait?
No, I go for it. I'm ready to go.
There's this gentleman standing right in the middle of the pedestrian bridge, and I'm running down, and he's like, "Young man, zip that top up." I got the sternum warning. My jersey was my zipper was flying too low.
Yeah, you and
oh yeah.
Let me just throw it out there.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were targeted.
The C-26 was targeted, man.
Yeah, we were targeted by a out for blood former probably mall security guard course marshal on the run course who was on the bridge. And I've counted seven.
Seven now?
7 of our athletes who got a nice talking to for the sternum warning. And I'm giving if you've seen our kits, they're pretty bright. You can't miss this. So I think that had something to do with it. But our crew's not all about showing the chest, and as far as I know, it's all about just keeping your nipples covered, and you can unzip all the way and they're still covered. But yeah, we got 7 warnings for sternum exposure. So
that's unbelievable. I was like, man, how am I supposed to be the sexiest 50-year-old single in triathlon if I can't show a little sternum? Come on.
Yeah, so I've already decided that next year we're doing Chattanooga again, and I hope that course marshal is there and is back. And our kits next year are going to have logoed shorts, and then our tops are going to be painted as like a 75-year-old naked lady.
Oh, dude, have fun wearing those.
Yeah, and no, you're wearing them too. That was part of the bet with CC in the fine print you didn't see.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna leave them zipped up. Don't you worry, and see how many times you get flagged. But yeah, that was. I mean, give me a dude.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees out, and you're telling people to zip up their tri-top another 2 inches because it's showing too much sternum.
That's a phenomenal rule.
Are you kidding me right now?
So anyway, I lost the bet. And the bet was the loser had to take the other guy's bike back to the hotel, which is just the worst.
Which is the walk of shame.
Oh, it's the worst. I couldn't even move. So did I follow through on the bet? Well, kind of. I just he was, he has a tendency to be a little impatient at times with me. The patient thing he's got to work on, I think. He's getting better towards the end there, but I said, look, CC, a bet's a bet. I'm gonna own up to it, but it might be a while before your bike is back at the hotel. And immediately he goes, I'm just gonna grab it. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But I did buy him dinner, so.
You did buy him dinner. So, but yeah, I guess it's time for you guys can go at it again at the full Ironman Chattanooga. I know when I popped in the hotel this morning, you were booking UNCC's room.
Yes. Yeah, I can only beat him
for the full in September.
Yeah, I can. The full is the distance I got to challenge him for some reason. I don't know why.
Which is weird because it usually takes the more patient athlete to win the full distance.
I know. I don't know. Somehow I got to figure out how to get in his head a little bit better. He pretty much owned me this weekend on that one. So
yeah, let Yeah, Hayden just came in. Hey, Hayden, who did you think was going to win, Mike or Corey? Mike? Yeah, and he let you down, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yes? Yeah, you want to give a shout-out? Can you say hi to Mike? He's waving. Yeah, he can't see you. This is all video.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's about to go to the grocery. But yeah, it's, you guys will do battle again, I'm sure, fairly soon. I'm sure another point this year, you guys will probably do battle.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. We will.
Maybe we can take him in a sprint. Mike, that is Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is Mike.
Hey,
see, he's calling for you.
He is. Can I talk about my swim twin concept?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
The swim twin. Right? Had a good swim. I was just right there on the swim. I knew we had a nice current, but just everything was just right in the pocket for me. I hit the corner nice and just, corner, the angling corner. Was the swim? I talked to several people who had a hard time with anxiety yesterday.
Really? Yeah, I did.
Multiple
talk to a few people as well. Yeah.
But for me, it worked out well. I hit that red turn buoy and angled right down, and I was just cruising until I hit the last bridge, which is about what 300 yards or so from the finish line, and that's when I ran into my swim twin. And this was just like this thing where there's
swim twin.
There's plenty of room in that river, and
there is, yes.
For whatever reason, this guy, it's like a magnet. He's just right on my hip, and I tried, going off to the left, and he just followed me, and then I was, then I tried to drop back a little bit, and he just slowed down. And it wasn't like a draft situation because he was right up, like heads, and we were matched head to head.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just said, and then he started getting in my head a little bit, and I'm just like, all right, F this, I'm just gonna gun it. So I just put my head down and just started going, trying to leave him. And sure enough, he just same thing. He comes up at me, and then I go to the left again. And he's coming over, and I was just starting to get pissed off. I'm sure you don't face this a lot because you're up in the front, but I'm just saying this kind of thing. It's just a weird phenomenon that I don't understand. Because if you're gonna draft somebody in the swim, it shouldn't be me. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm okay. I had a pretty decent swim going yesterday, but the weird part about it was, I was so relaxed, and then all of a sudden, that's the opposite of what you were talking about on your bike. It's like don't get too comfortable with however good everything's going either, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the twin shows up, and then.
The twin shows up, and all of a sudden my day is just starting to get unraveled a little bit, and I was flustered. And then, of course, for the last 150 yards or whatever, it seemed like everybody was like, well, they do that anyway. Towards the swim up, people just lose their fucking mind. They lose it.
It's unbelievable. Just cruise in and just accept what you got going here. Don't, you know what I mean? It's just not going to matter.
Because people will cruise at a zone 1 or zone 2 effort for 30 minutes, and then when they get within 100 meters of that the stairs to get up, they go zone 6.
I know.
And be damned if you're in their way. Because you know what? I am going to make it those 3 extra seconds, and I'm going to get to that stair that's probably 5 stairs short coming out of the water, and I'm going to get there before you do. Because that was one thing. If you did the race, I've done plenty of swims where they have stairs coming out of the water, and the stairs are actually in the water. But I think this one was missing a stair or two, because I went to use my foot, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to do 3 more strokes to get. But yeah, people do. They lose their mind, and it becomes a frenzy.
I couldn't get up that stair. I don't know how I ended up flopping up there like a whale, like a beached whale or something, on my back on the bottom stair. I was just like, what is this, man? How are you gonna contort your leg above your head to get out of the water? It was just it's crazy. It's relief. I'm here. I'm home. And then all of a sudden you just can't get out. It's a weird thing, man.
Yep.
I don't know. That swim, it's like they turn into like leaping dolphins, and like the whole thing at the end just gets all crazy. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, people go they go balls out.
Dude, you used a wetsuit stripper too.
Yeah, listen, if nobody's using them, they're quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much quicker, in my opinion, to use a wetsuit stripper if there's nobody there. You know, you run up, you've already got to your waist, you literally sit on your butt, they rip it off, and you're done in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Versus continuing to run with it around your waist all the way to transition, then shimming it down, then trying to do the step in and step out, which to me always leads to more problems. And one of my athletes who wasn't racing got a fantastic picture of me, Renee Black, after my wetsuit had officially been stripped. I looked like I was doing an old school break dance move, but yeah, I did. And there was, hey, last thing I wanted to do was run up that hill and run the extra 2.5 miles to my bike with wetsuit around my legs.
No, I know. I stopped right before it. It was packed, and so I did the step off. The step to the right, I was doing that, and volunteers, bless their hearts, were trying to help me, and they were coming up right on my side, and I'm trying to step to my right, and I kept stepping on their feet. And I was like, okay, I'm good. They're like, here, let me help. And they kept converging, and I couldn't spread out. And it was like, it's just chaotic when you come out of there sometimes.
It is. It's chaotic. But yeah, overall good swim course. And I mean, overall race rating, I would rate that very high. Very high for experience.
It's way up there, yeah.
It's they do a very, very, very good job of putting that race on. They do the best they can with a very, very good venue as well. I do gotta say the swim had to have been a little bit short, so I'm kind of bummed about that. Not just bummed because it's short, but they definitely played it a little bit safe. I mean, the swim upstream was not even a swim upstream. I mean, you took like 4 strokes and you were to the first buoy, and then there basically was no turn across. It was like a straight fade back to It was so they had a choice. They decided to play a little bit safe, whatever. But the swim had to have been short, so it's already a current aided swim, and I will say that it is by far and away the easiest swim course I have ever participated in terms of. The river is flat. You can see buoys from like a mile away, which is great, and it's clear. I mean, besides it being short, which you're not going to find many people complaining about the swim being short, but due to accuracy, I'm like, come on, the current wasn't strong. They easily could have made it the full, but whatever. Well done, transition well. The transition I thought was set up great. It is a large transition, but when you have that many people, what are you going to do? And it's all in one place, so that's a good thing. Bike course, fair, and, a lot of people complain and moan about the whole bike course is terrible. The roads are terrible. I'm like, they're not that bad. Chill out. Like, the first little bit's got, a couple places, but they mark everything. Yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, with orange and pink tape, and like they marked it, and they covered the railroad tracks. I think they went, in my opinion, above and beyond. The course was very clearly marked in places I didn't even think you would need to mark it. There were cops and people at every crossing. The limited car. That was another complaint that I heard was like, there's cars on the course. I think I saw like 15, maybe. Over 56 miles. Like, I mean, come on. And there's very few races. I think Muncie 70.3 is like the only one that I even know of where the whole bike course is closed to traffic. But overall, I thought the bike course was fair. The back half is fast if you haven't burnt your biscuits. Mix between flat, rolling into few hills, mix between sun and shade. No wind at all that I could tell on the day. Transition again, nice setup, and then the run course. Albeit that it was such a brutal day, I haven't heard a single complaint from any athlete about issues with water or ice or sponges up until the very last, at least close to the very last finish. They had plenty of ice. They had plenty of water. They had tons of volunteers. So I mean, I can see why it is a favorite, and I can see why it wins so many Athletes' Choice Awards. If you want to give any credence to the legitimate voting of those, but absolutely well done, and the race director gets an absolute A+ in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'd also like to give a shout out to David Buckner, who was the volunteer coordinator, who we finally got to meet. He's a fan of the podcast, huh?
Yeah, finally got to meet.
Yeah, he's a friend of the podcast, and we got to hang out with him a little bit, and it was just the volunteers, as usual, were above and beyond what anybody could expect at something like that. I think they are I mean, kind of the unsung heroes, but they really make the race. It's just unbelievable how they get them all. We're talking about getting them on the podcast at some point, maybe, and just talking about the logistics of the volunteer program at Ironman, and they were great, man.
Everybody.
Right. I mean, it's like I couldn't believe. I don't even know how they get ice to these places and keep ice. It's just so much.
And there was everything: sponges, ice,
sponges,
water,
cold.
Gatorade, Red Bull, Coke, everything. I mean, I know I was fortunate enough because I started at the front of the swim to get to the aid stations a little bit quicker. But there was everything, and every aid station was manned with tons of people with. I mean, and it was. I was very, very, very impressed given how many athletes compete at that race, and given the logistics. Because I'll tell you, the run can't be easy logistic wise either, because it covers both sides of the river. It goes up and over. It goes below with the greenways. It's on the side. Yeah, and I would agree. Totally impressed with whatever method they use to get ice and water and refill when needed. Each aid station is they get a gigantic thumbs up for me. Very, very, very well done. So 2 thumbs up, 5 stars out of 5 stars from me.
Would you say that run course is sneaky? You call it fair, right?
Yeah, it's fair. We've been saying that. It's fair.
Yeah.
I like rolling courses. I mean, that one hill I think is a booger. At whatever mile it is, like 4 and 10 maybe. But the other ones I don't consider those hills. Like that one at mile 4 and 10, that's a hill. It's just like straight up, it feels like, after your legs are already beat to death. But I would say it's rolling, and I like rolling. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're going up, but you still got plenty of time to go down. There were good patches of, and listen, dude, those bridges are not that steep.
Except the pedestrian bridge that ruined my race.
Except for, but still.
No, I agree with you. It's just that
they're not. Like, come on. Like, they're just not that steep, but they feel steep.
Yeah.
When you swam and biked 56 miles and ran 6, when you come to the first part, I will say, thank God they don't make you come all the way back towards the finish and run up that damn hill again.
That one's...
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, tell me they're not doing that again. And I was like, thank God, no, we're going back the other way.
Yeah.
But again, it can get hot. Listen, it's a run course with a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Plenty of sunshine, plenty of shade, flats, downhills, rollers, a very nice pincher of a hill, a little bit winding. To me, it was like 0 turns compared to Texas. I was like, man, what is this straightaway action we get?
Yeah.
I would say it's, if you don't look, it's rolling. It's fair.
Yeah. No, it's definitely fair. Definitely fair. I always say sneaky because you think of it in terms of that flat road out and then the greenway, and people think that means flat, but other than those sections, there's some stuff that sneaks up on you.
Mm-hmm. And the hills always come in like the
like over the bridge.
It's like they're long ones. It's like you can. And that's the bad part is you can just continue to see like how much farther you have to go in front of you.
Oh, that was a thing, man, where you did the turnaround on the greenway and you saw the bridge out there.
Yeah, and you're like, come on,
what?
dude,
I'm really running to that right now.
I didn't even notice it the first time because I couldn't remember if we even ran over or not. I was pretty sure we did, but I was like, yeah, that's not that one. And then, of course, the second loop, you're like, oh, God, that's that far away.
It looks a long ways, man.
And Hill was kind of a big time booger.
And then when you go over the Veterans Bridge, that little up and back up onto Barton, or is it Barlow? We always get these confused.
It's Barton, I think.
Barton.
I'm pretty sure.
You go, yeah, because I always think of it in terms of, well, you go over the bridge and then you just duck around underneath it. But no, they run you up it quite a bit.
Yep, they run you up it quite a bit.
And that thing, that thing on the full is just a monster. Yeah. But they only take you up about maybe a third of the way or something like that.
Yeah, on the half.
But still, it's a little bit of a hill there.
Mm-hmm.
At that time of the day kind of thing.
And then the last mile is a screamer, which hurts like crazy. Because at that end of the day, you're hot, you're tired, your legs are beat up, and I'd rather have a slight uphill, to be honest with you, than that 1 mile screamer, because you're ready to finish, your legs hurt, and good God, it just hurts pounding it, and then you get to the finish, and then I was like, man, I thought the finish was like right here.
Yeah, I know.
And then you got to keep running for a while, but yeah, fast downhill finish, which is great. It's a great spectator course. You can see them in a couple different spots, but yeah, it's a fair course, and with any kind of temperature that's not in the 70s, it's gonna eat your lunch on occasion.
Yep.
So, what's your biggest takeaway?
I got to get back to work.
Yeah.
I mean, or just in general the weekend from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think my takeaway is it's an awesome event, but it's like if you're downtown and like where we were, and it's just, I mean, that to me is like the perfect triathlon experience in Chattanooga. Yeah. If you're downtown, for sure. I mean, it can be great, wherever you're staying there, but it's just so nice to park and then leave your car for a few days and walk down to everything, and just there's stuff like you said for the family, and it just gives me a good vibe about the sport and everything like that. And the people of Chattanooga, they love it.
They do.
These restaurants and just, I mean, it was never like a nuisance, Like you walk in, we might have like 20 people. Like, can you hook us up? And they're like, oh yeah, take this table, take this, and then we can, or whatever. And even the hotel, everybody was just so like behind it. There was no animosity. You didn't get that sense ever. And I guess that doesn't really, I don't really experience that much. I think people know that it's a good thing for the city if they can get past the fact that a couple of roads will be closed for a few hours.
Yeah.
Well,
and I mean, and the way they designed the bike course, I mean, it goes out like the back end of the city anyway, so it's not taking up any of the true real downtown roads. Even the run doesn't. The way they take you, they're not shutting down Market and Chestnut and Broad. They just take you out the other way. So they utilize. It's just they did a very good job of utilizing the space, and yeah, I give big props. Allie took Hayden to the Children's Museum on Saturday. While I lounged around for a little bit, and then today we hit up the aquarium after the race. Saw many other triathletes there as well, doing this kind of the same thing with their families, and ran into podcast favorite extraordinaire Zach Radke, but yeah, it's a great town, and I think Jason Ramley, one of our athletes, asked me on the walk back from breakfast this morning that I was like, so you thinking about making this the team race again next year? And my first thought was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to do the same one again, but there's just there's no downside, to that venue, and the way that you're right, the way the city treats the athletes when they come in. All the restaurants were super supportive. I think I overheard somebody at the aquariums today said that the both Ironman races bring in around $3 million. $3
million?
To the city. Yeah, to the city.
Seems like it'd be more than that.
Or maybe it was just this one. That's a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
from people that don't live there. And so, but yeah, Chattanooga's awesome. So if you've never done it, we give it, 2 thumbs up, except for that run course marshal who was God knows what that guy was on. We'll be seeing you next year, buddy.
I'd love to hear his story.
Yeah, I might just go for a streak around mile 7 across the bridge and see if he can catch me. But no, great race. And we'll cover it again shortly.
Yeah,
my biggest takeaway, just keep moving. It was funny because we talked. I rarely ever listen to my own wise words, but I think we talked about the 4 day before Ironman. It was like, don't judge your whole race on one moment. Mm-hmm. And even though like my first 30, 40 minutes, I just felt and honestly, like this is the most like unsure and unconfident I felt going into any race, really. Just with the craziness that's been around with camps and Texas and Disney, I was like, I just don't know. And then my legs were like, I don't know either. And then around mile 20, they finally came alive, and so I'm glad I stuck with it. I'm glad I flipped the switch mentally as well. And then I do I think honestly the biggest flip I think was Jonathan Minton, who's a friend of ours. I didn't even know he was going to be on the course, and I'm running the first lap, and he runs by and he goes, "Hey man, you're in 4th." And I was like, "What?" And half of me was like,
"Yeah, what a bummer."
half of me was like, "Oh my god, I could like, this is gonna be, if I can do this, this will be pretty awesome." And the other half of me was like, "Damn it,
now you got to go.
Now I got to.
You're called out."
I was like, "I'm called out. What am I gonna do? This sucks." But
you had one loop of the run left at that time, roughly.
Yeah,
right?
I was just about to go over the pedestrian bridge,
mm-hmm.
and honestly, like the last, 7 miles, I think, I just kept telling myself to wait. I was like, just wait, because at that point I started running harder, and I thought about, okay, this might be possible, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait, and my game plan was I'm gonna keep waiting. I'm going to make it up that last crappy hill, even if I have to take a few walking steps. And the last 5K is where I'm just going to let it rip. And because I want to make sure I've got enough in the tank to run up the pedestrian bridge and sprint down to the finish. And I paced it well, and I came up Barton and then back around and saw him again. He's like, "Yeah, man, still in 4th." And that was like a 1.3 miles left. And at that point, I just went to the very deep reserve, and I think one guy ended up getting me that was behind me, because it was a wave star. That was the other thing that you just don't really know about. So, but yeah, it was God, it hurt, but hey, it was worth it. It's all uncomfortable, and if you've ever done a 70.3, the half marathon, you should just know that it's gonna hurt, and a lot of it's gonna hurt. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And you should fully expect it to hurt, because it's going to, and that's okay.
That's okay.
But yeah, it is okay. And again, congrats to everyone all the finishers at Chattanooga, 70.3, and every other race around. So big ups to everyone, and best of luck to everyone as the rest of the season goes on. And we appreciate everybody listening. I do gotta say, it was a very special weekend, I think, all in all. Just to see and meet so many people who do listen to the podcast, to meet so many of our athletes and our team there, and see other people. And it was a very, very cool experience, being basically just a full year since we've been doing this. So feeling very grateful and thankful for everybody that was there and supports us, and leaves us your good reviews and your bad reviews, and targets us on race course or supports us on race courses. We love you. We appreciate it. And we'll keep coming to you every Monday and Thursday. Sometimes early, sometimes late, but still Monday, Thursday.
As we have, this is 166th podcast.
I don't know.
Spit that out, man.
Yeah, get it out,
man. If you want, if you're still listening, and you're not in the closed group, search Crushing Iron Group on Facebook and come on in and meet some people. We had there was a post in our group this weekend about 2 young ladies from Europe who became friends to the group, and they were hanging out, and they got to meet for the first time at a 70.3 in Spain, I believe. Did you see that post?
Yeah,
and that was like, one of my takeaways from the weekend too, even though we weren't there, obviously. But I just thought that was the coolest thing, and they're like buddies now, and they're hanging out, at races all over the world. So that kind of thing's happening. Come on in the group, meet some people, and hang out with them at the next race. We just have such a. It's. I'm really like kind of blown away by how cool everybody was. Just we're meeting new people all the time, and everybody's just chill, and it's not hyper triathlete talk and all that business or whatever. It's just real people kind of hanging out doing triathlon and doing it well, and getting better. And it's just a cool place. It was a good vibe, man. That's my takeaway.
It was. Totally agree.
All right, man. We'll get this out.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Get some rest. Get your recovery on.
Yep, I'm gonna pick up the dog and then I'm just gonna take a nap.
Sounds good, dude. See you.
All right, man. See you, buddy.